Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, InaneDragon, and tonight I'm gonna be making a short, unscripted, I just have some bullet points, video talking about something that came up in a little bit of a Twitter fight between internet personalities Logic and Eve Kenyan, and I butchered that name. Here's the thing. As you can see, Eve claims that she's had a personal encounter with God. That is, a direct revelation, and that this is strong evidence for the existence of God. Except that many purely natural phenomena produce exactly and precisely this experience. Hallucinations, that is, induced by sleep deprivation, oxygen deprivation, thirst, hunger, heat exhaustion, brain tumors, brain parasites, and any number of psychological or neurological disorders could cause precisely the phenomena she's dealing with. As just one example, her story sounds very much like a focal seizure. This is something I have first-hand experience with. I am an epileptic. See, as a great little anecdote on this, there was a time years ago when a friend of mine was working on some algebra homework for her college classes, and I had a seizure in the other room. And the only thing, this was a focal seizure, I was aware of my surroundings, I was kind of aware of what was going on, except that everything around me just stopped being important, except for what she was asking another friend about the math problem she was dealing with, and I found myself compelled to get up, walk out into the living room where she was working, and sit down and start tutoring her in math. The only thing I could think about was the problem. The only things I could hear clearly were people talking about mathematics. I couldn't hear anything else, at least in the sense of making out what people were saying, how they were reacting. It was me, the math problem, and people's discussions about math. And the formulae felt more real than my own existence, which is the very thing that Eve was describing about her own experience that makes her believe that this is a epistemic ground for her to accept God and reject atheist arguments. But that means that I have the same epistemic ground that she does, except for math? Doesn't seem like a legit way of doing business. The phenomenon is so common that epilepsy has been linked directly to religious experiences. It's been referred to in history as the religion disease, or the, I'll find some links, but Muhammad and Joseph Smith were thought both to be epileptic. But beyond even that, religious experiences such as near-death experiences have been recreated in the laboratory using meditation or putting people into a centrifuge and spinning them up to really high Gs until they lose consciousness because of all the oxygen and blood pulled out of their brain. And these are just a few of the ways we have that can replicate the experience that Eve and thousands of others are claiming. We have thousands of other reasons why you could experience these things, and not a single one of them invokes anything more supernatural than basic biology. So, Eve, if you happen to end up watching this video for some reason, until you can rule out all of these possibilities, how can you rule in the far more fantastical possibility that the creator of the whole universe has chosen to give you and a select crew of individuals this personal experience? How do you explain away the fact that these are the exact same experiences that are held and had by members of every other religion in the world, each of them claiming the exact same thing you do, that it is irrefutable proof of their God? Do all other religious experiences have their roots in hallucinations, or is it more probable that the demonstrable fact that hallucinations reflect our beliefs caused your experience as well. I believe that before you embrace your experience as factual, you should consider the warning about how brains and minds can lie that was provided by, well, is provided by you, Eve. You admit that the brain can do precisely this to you. You know it can. You have no excuse to rule out natural phenomena until you rule out natural phenomena. Have you been to a neurologist, Eve? A psychologist? Have you even tried to honestly examine your encounter as anything other than confirmation of what you dearly wish to believe to be true? Until then, I'm InaneDragon, and you have nothing. Have a good night.